Umro Ayar, the legendary character from ancient Persian and South Asian folklore, was known for his quick wit, resourcefulness, and the enigmatic zambil, a magical pouch that held an endless array of treasures and tools. He wandered the lands, solving mysteries, defeating evil sorcerers, and helping the oppressed. One of the most fascinating tales of Umro Ayar revolves around his encounter with the Jado Chariya, or the magical dagger. One day, while wandering through a dense forest, Umro Ayar stumbled upon an elderly man leaning against a tree. The man, frail and bruised, seemed to be in dire need of help. "Who has harmed you, old man?" asked Umro. The man gasped, "A thief. A sorcerer stole my most precious possession, a magical dagger handed down by my ancestors. It is said to grant the wielder immense power. I fear it has fallen into the wrong hands." Intrigued, Umro pressed the man for more details. The dagger, the man explained, was not merely a weapon but a conduit for dark magic. In the hands of someone with ill intentions, it could wreak havoc on the world. Without hesitation, Umro promised to retrieve the dagger. "Stay here and rest, old man. I will bring back what is yours." He left the forest, his zambil slung over his shoulder, determined to track down the thief and recover the enchanted weapon. Following the old man's description, Umro traveled to the City of Shadows, a place notorious for harboring outlaws and sorcerers. The narrow streets were lined with ominous-looking houses, and the air was thick with whispers of forbidden magic. It was here that the thief, a sorcerer named Zarkish, was last seen. Umro's first stop was the bustling marketplace, where he disguised himself as a merchant selling rare spices. He listened carefully to the conversations around him and soon learned of Zarkish's whereabouts. The sorcerer lived in a grand fortress on the city's outskirts, heavily guarded and surrounded by traps. When night fell, Umro made his way to Zarkish's fortress. The structure was imposing, with high walls, a moat filled with venomous serpents, and guards patrolling every corner. Umro, however, was undeterred. From his zambil, he pulled out a magical cloak that rendered him invisible. Wearing the cloak, he crossed the moat and slipped past the guards unnoticed. Inside the fortress, he found a labyrinth of corridors, each more perplexing than the last. But Umro was no ordinary man. He relied on his keen sense of direction and the tools in his zambil to navigate the maze. Along the way, he encountered enchanted doors, cursed artifacts, and shadowy figures. Yet, with each challenge, he remained calm and resourceful. Finally, he reached a grand hall where Zarkish sat on a throne, the magical dagger gleaming in his hand. The sorcerer, a tall man with a menacing aura, was surrounded by acolytes chanting spells. The air crackled with energy as Zarkish raised the dagger, demonstrating its power by cutting through the air and summoning a storm within the hall. Umro knew he had to act quickly. From his zambil, he pulled out a small vial of sleeping powder, which he scattered into the air. The powder spread like a fine mist, and one by one, the acolytes collapsed to the ground. Zarkish, however, was not so easily subdued. Sensing danger, he turned to face Umro, who had shed his invisibility cloak. "So, the infamous Umro Ayar has come to challenge me," Zarkish sneered. "Do you think you can take the dagger from me? Its power is beyond your comprehension." "I don't need to comprehend it," Umro replied calmly. "I only need to return it to its rightful owner." Zarkish lunged at Umro, wielding the dagger with deadly precision. The weapon's blade glowed with an eerie light, and each strike sent shockwaves through the room. But Umro was quick on his feet, dodging the sorcerer's attacks and using items from his zambil to counter them. He threw smoke bombs to obscure Zarkish's vision and used a mirror shield to deflect the dagger's energy blasts. The battle raged on, with neither side gaining the upper hand. Finally, Umro devised a clever plan. He used a rope from his zambil to trip Zarkish, causing the sorcerer to drop the dagger. Before Zarkish could retrieve it, Umro snatched it up and placed it into the zambil, rendering it inaccessible to anyone else. With the dagger secured, Umro knew he had to escape the fortress quickly. Zarkish, furious and humiliated, unleashed a wave of dark magic to trap him. The walls of the hall began to close in, and shadowy creatures emerged from the corners. Umro, however, was prepared. From his zambil, he pulled out a magical whistle that summoned a giant bird. Climbing onto its back, he soared out of the fortress just as it collapsed under the weight of Zarkish's own magic. Umro returned to the forest, where the old man was waiting anxiously. Handing over the dagger, Umro said, "It is safe now, but you must ensure it never falls into the wrong hands again." The old man thanked him profusely and revealed his true identity. He was a guardian of ancient relics, tasked with protecting powerful artifacts from those who would misuse them. "You have done a great service to the world, Umro Ayar," he said. "May your journeys always be guided by wisdom and courage." As Umro walked away, he couldn't help but marvel at the complexity of the world he roamed. It was filled with wonders and dangers, yet it was his duty to maintain balance and justice. He smiled, knowing that his Zambiel and his wits would always be enough to face whatever challenges lay ahead.